नमस्कार. गोमंतक टीव्हीच्या साष्टीकार ह्या कार्यावळीत तुमकां येवकार. आमी आज परत एकदा एक गंभीर विषय घेवन आयल्यात आनी तो म्हणजे गोंयचें पर्यावरण, गोंयचें कोस्टल पर्यावरण. आनी हो विशय चर्चेक हाडपाचें कारण हे इतलेंच म्हणजे सद्याक उत्तर गोंयांत आमच्या मुंबय उच्च न्यायालयान एक्शन घेवन आतां सद्याक अणजुण्याची जी इलिगल जी आशिल्ली आस्थापना आशिल्ली ती सील केल्यात. हाजे पयलीं अशीच कारवाई हरमला केली, तशीच कारवाई वागातोर केली. आनी हे फाटभुंयेचेर दक्षिण गोंयांत सद्याक स्थिती कितें आसा हाचेर आमी चर्चा करपाक आसा. आनी आमचे भितर आसात जुडीथ आल्मेदा. जुडीथ आल्मेदा ह्यो पर्यावरणांतल्यो एक सामक्यो खडेगांठ अशे कार्यकर्ते आनी स्पेशली कोस्टल एनवायरमेंट हाजेर ताणें हे केल्यात. कितल्योश्योच केसी घालून सद्याक म्हाका दिसता आमचे कोलवा आनी बाणावली ह्या सायडीन कितलीशीच हे इलिगल म्हणून डिक्लेअर केल्ले आसात. जुडीथ बाय तुमकां येवकार आमच्या गोमंतक टीव्हीक. म्हाका एक सांगात की सद्याक आमचे ह्या सावथ गोवा आसा पळय आनीक आमचो कोस्ट आसा आनी इट्स अ फ्रेजायल कोस्ट सारको. सिच्युएशन कितें आसा सद्याक थंय?
सिच्युएशन इज व्हेरी बॅड. सामके वायट परिणाम जाले आसा कित्याक जायते इलिगल कन्स्ट्रक्शन्स येयल्यान. No development zone was meant to protect the villages and the due to sea level rise, the villages which were on the inside were not to be disturbed. But unfortunately, this no development zone today is like totally destroyed all along the coast. Especially if you see most of the villages in Kavalosi, Benauli, Kolva, Sednabati, go up even now it's in some of the areas in Betalbati, Majorda, you will find that these illegal structures have been coming up. People along the coast, there are small groups which are fighting these issues. But it is an exercise in futility. The reason is because the Goa Coastal Zone Management Authority, which is the regulatory body for protecting the CRZ, the 0 to 500 meters of the HTL, they are not doing their job well. And I hold them completely responsible along with the tourism department and the local panchayats who are supposed to see that the notification, CRZ notification is implemented in letter and spirit. But that is not happening. Complainants have to fight a losing battle against the GCZM just to prove that these structures are illegal. It is like, having dealt with several matters before the GCZM, I feel it's an exercise in futility because the authority which is supposed to listen to the complainants and do its own study. Now the GCZM has all the maps with them. They have the DSLR at their disposal. They can call the panchayat and check with them how many violations have taken place. They do no such thing. There was a writ petition 422 of 1998 which was filed by the Goa Foundation, and that order came out in October of 2006, wherein the Talatis had to every 15 days report to the additional collector of whatever violations were seen in those 15 days. They were supposed to go to their villages, whatever areas they are in, and make a report and produce. That has completely stopped. I filed an RTI in the Mamladar's office and I could not find any such reports. They could not produce any such report. That means there is either a fatigue in the system or there is an uncaring attitude of this whole system. Now the GCZM should see that these reports are coming to them every 15 days via the additional collector. That has stopped. There was one additional collector, Mr. Acharya, at that time. He was doing his job, but after he left the seat, everything has stopped.
So you mean to say that they don't even care the orders of high courts?
They don't. There is no value for the high court orders. And this time, in the case of Arambol, Anjuna, because the high court, was aggressive, I feel. Aggressive for the first time, stood up and said nothing doing. You go, you inspect, you report to us immediately that you found that there were so many structures. Let's take the case of Kolva and Sernabati. Now I am giving you this very specific reason.
How many illegal construction will be there?
Oh, more than 350 there will be. The reason I am telling you this is because in 2006, the suo motu writ petition that was of 2006, there were already several illegal structures. The village panchayat was filing affidavits after affidavits protecting most of these structures. It was the forum which filed RTIs, collected the information and went before the Honorable High Court and showed the High Court that this, Your Honor, this is what is the situation just now. Okay. These illegal structures are illegal. We had already produced of 21. There were a lot many more. But you know how many RTIs and how much information are we as supposed common citizens to collect when we have a panchayat there who should be reporting sincerely and honestly to the court. But they were not doing their job. And when we produced this information, the Honorable High Court permitted us to become respondents over there. Number 30 we were in that case. And so we took the matter forward. The order was passed somewhere in 2015. The Honorable High Court asked the expert members or the GCZM to conduct an inspection. When the expert member came for inspections, he just threw up his hands and said, "What is this?" He says. In 2006, what we saw, almost all the structures are still standing, which were illegal, are still standing. And he says now there are far more extensions and more illegal structures. So he said this will not do. We'll need to get a mapping done. And then when the panchayat was asked, they were a part of the inspection team, they were asked to produce documents. They had no documents to produce. The secretary who came there said she doesn't have any documents. So this expert member put this down in a report and filed it before the GCZM. Despite this report, in 2016, the Honorable High Court disposed of by passing an oral judgment asking the panchayat and the GCZM to call on the parties and conduct inspections or whatever and pass orders. GCZM slept over the matter. I kept following it up. Finally, on 31st of July 2018, the first hearing started.
Okay.
And
after how many years?
2016 to 2018 of the judgment I'm talking, those 2 years. Yeah. There was a good officer sitting in the GCZM, he a member secretary, he issued the orders. I went and spoke to him. I said, "Sir, I've been writing to you all, reminding you all when nothing is happening." He's saying, "Madam, I'm just in the seat now, I'll look at the matter." And immediately, very promptly he started. And the first orders came out in December of 2018. Okay. The orders that were passed were for demolition. Now all of these structures the panchayat said were legal structures. Okay. There was an inquiry report, the GCZM had asked one, because there was an interim period between the change of authority. The inquiry committee was set up and they were told there was an order of the NGT earlier. They were told to, study all these cases and give their reports. They also protected most of them. Now the thing is that they neither went to the site, nor did they refer to the plans, maps with the GCZM. They just, whatever the parties told them, and produced even lot of forged documents. I'm very sorry.
Judith, तुम्हें cases from your Kolva Civic and Consumer Forum on that, तुम्हें cases घेतल्यान तातूंत भितर you got I can say it victory or one thing in this one Mickey's restaurant. Demolitions it went up to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Second thing is that Colmar Hotel.
Silver Sand.
Then the tourism structures
were demolished.
Yeah. So, do you feel it's a victory to you or it's a halfway this one?
Honestly, I am not happy for the simple reason that take the case of the tourism department. Yeah. After the GCZM passed the orders in October of 2022, they went happily and demolished to show that they had demolished all that and reported back. Today, if you go, all those structures are reconstructed. So please tell me, how will I feel satisfied? I mean, our satisfaction is that our coast is being protected. And the idea of protecting the coast is because the sea, every year, there is a sea level rise, and the erosion of all the sand dunes are taking place. Then this is, people are complaining about the erosion, but people are not seeing that because of the heavy construction in the no development zone, that the sea, the beach is the resting place of the sea. So if this resting place itself is overburdened, how will you expect the repercussions not to be there on the rest of the sand dunes? That's why all the sand dunes are being, I have consulted experts, scientists and all. Their opinions nobody bothers. Neither the GCZM nor the tourism department, they completely ignored them.
What about Mickey's and Colmar? Why the action?
I'll tell you what happened. In the case of Colmar is a very interesting case. In 2003, the GCZM found that they had 8 illegal structures. And why this happened
8
was... 8
illegal structures means it's 8 buildings it is.
8 buildings, yes. Ground plus 1.
Yeah.
Now
with so many, the small rooms.
Small rooms, yes.
Yeah.
In 2013, it was 156 rooms.
Okay.
And today, what it is, I have no idea, because then after that, there were no inspections taking place. The important thing about this is in 2003, the DSLR found that these 8 illegal, the very important thing, this is how frauds are being committed on the state of Goa. The 8 of these structures are shown in the 1972 plan, survey plan. Who illegally introduced those structures, nobody knows. Because this hotel said they came up in 80. So in 72 plan, how did you have these 8 in the original survey plan? So I was filing RTIs, but that particular file was not being given to me. It took me nearly 2 years after asking for a police complaint that they found the file and gave it. And in that file, the ISLR report with the map is showing that those particular 8 structures were illegally introduced, and they said they would conduct an investigation. Till date, there is no investigation taking place.
Okay.
And after I got all that, I showed the GCZM. I said, this is in your records. You are aware of this. Why am I supposed to prove to you? But they did nothing. Anyway, initially it was a tough fight for me to prove all these things. But after getting information from the Mamlatdar's office, from everywhere, I produced the sale deeds, everything, and showed them that despite all this, no structures are shown. How are you saying these structures are illegal? So in 2003, the GCZM had issued an order for demolition. At that time, they found that there were illegal structures. The matter went to some sessions court. The sessions court, because they were not given natural justice, they were told to rear. The GCZM did not rear them. Now, in 2012, when we went to the High Court, I had listed this as one of the cases.
Okay.
Because information I obtained in the panchayat itself told me that there was something fishy over there. There were illegal structures. Because in 2005, the panchayat had done an inspection of this particular site. Now see how these authorities are to be blamed for these violations continuing on the beach. They made a report where they showed these 8 structures as illegal, saying that they had no permissions.
Okay.
The panchayat in their own, and they issued a show cause notice to the party and said, kindly produce us all the permission. They did not. And the panchayat went to sleep after that. And panchayat every year is renewing their trade license. The GCZM, whatever they ask permission, they have so many illegal constructions are come now freshly. Even in 2022, they were still constructing one big structure on the beach front, and I filed a complaint, produced the photographs, everything to GCZM. They did nothing, not even to inspect the site.
तुवें म्हणला पळय की पंचायत मागे न्हिदली म्हूण हे न्हिदप कितें कशें करून मुद्दाम सामकें न्हीद येवन काय मुद्दाम आयिल्ली न्हिदी काडिल्ली न्हीद
पंचायत सगळे जाणा सो लोकल पंच मेंबर्स आहेत ते जाणाय and everybody knows today the level of corruption. Munpa, no, I am openly telling you, both the GCZM and the panchayat is a corrupt authorities. And I will say this with complete responsibility, because with the case of the panchayat, despite an order now of 2022 of the Honorable High Court, they have not completed the exercise till date. The GCZM has not completed the exercise till date. Then both of these authorities, they were fully knowing that coal mine was illegal. And please tell me, from 2003 to 2023.
20 years.
So what do you tell me that? Is this not a violation of the coastal regulation zone? Is not the GCZM a culprit and the panchayat a culprit? Who is collecting the money? You think if something is illegally lying there, the panchayat will stay quiet if they are not getting their bit, their feet?
No, if they are culprit, then why the action is not taken against?
This is what I depend upon, you know, the director of panchayats. So they are completely not really acting, because we file complaints to the BDO, we file complaints to the panchayat director, we do everything. Anybody goes, the moment an order is passed by the, say example, the order is passed by the panchayat, they will take that to the party will take it to the director of panchayat, he will stay. Why are you staying it unless you investigate, have a thorough hearing? No stay can be granted unless you give complete hearing. And what happens is, again there is a hitch. If the party is capable and is able to, you know, compromise with the panchayat, then the panchayat also sweeps over the matter in the courts. I am telling you because I am dealing with some of these matters before the deputy director of panchayat, before the BDO. I have dealt with these matters and I have enough evidence. Whatever I say is with responsibility, because I have evidence to prove all this, and somebody will have to challenge me on these matters.
The sensitive issue is like sand dunes, and you are saying that sand dunes are not shown in the this one map.
Very important. After the CZMP draft was out.
What is the quantum of that this one?
After the CZMP draft was out, the GCZM itself did a ground truthing, and they sent expert teams to inspect. In the case of Khazan lands, sand dunes, all these areas whichever were required, they sent them. They did the inspection, and the expert team did a study of the entire coast and showed that more than 46 lakh square meters of sand dunes are not shown in the CZMP. 46 lakh square meters is not shown in the 2011 CZMP. This was brought to the notice of the NCACM. I consider the NCACM as good as, you know, it's like
is it supposed to be a supreme body? Supreme body,
for me, it's like a rogue body. Honestly, I'm saying this with complete responsibility. I will take this because they will have to prove to me why these sand dunes are not shown in their mapping. They have all the technology. They say they have physically visited the site, and yet you have not seen these large, huge sand dunes.
Why they are not shown?
There are definitely commercial interests everywhere. Lot of these properties have been purchased by big money bags. They have purchased these properties and kept them for whenever.
From Goa or
from mostly 99.9% is out of Goa. Okay. Because the moment the CZMP was notified, you would have found that a lot of these properties were sand dunes. They brought JCBs and just Morji and all these areas, Benauli, they just demolished these sand dunes. Why? Majorda, ROC, there were so many complaints of sand dunes being demolished. By whom? These are by the people who purchased these properties. And who gave them the credibility to do this? It was the NCACM's report. When the GCZM did its study and found that there was 46 lakh square not shown on the CZMP, it was the duty of the CZMP to restudy the matter and then finalize the CZMP. But they did no such thing, and unfortunately the NCACM, the National Coastal Zone Authority, they should have taken at least cognizance of this. But then what we were hearing was that there was a lot of interference from the corporate sector, because a lot of these, there are even many illegal structures which were shown on which are on the sand dunes, which are owned by non-Goans mostly. Those sand dunes were not shown also in that, because it was clear for us who fight on the ground, it is before our eyes. What a compromise formula is taking place.
And you have fought one case against that Furtados also. Same on the, it was built.
It was we had listed it in our complaint to the High Court, but it was another party who was affected by what they were doing. That they had some property dispute, so they took the matter further, and finally that entire thing was ordered to be demolished. Now the NGT in its judgment clearly said that it is a sand dune, and they have destroyed the sand dune, and that all the structure, the place should be destroyed. They said that to demolish all the structures. The GCZM has granted the same party permission on the same sand dunes, knowing that it is there, the judgment is there, granted for commercial activities now, presently. We had to take that matter to the court. Now we are even taking one to the Supreme Court. The idea of what we are saying is, the GCZM who supposed, and there are reports of the expert members saying that this is a sand dune, it should not be. Now this entire, it's one of the largest sand dunes in Sernapati and maybe also in Goa. This sand dune is not shown in the NCSM report.
It is just like a hillock type of.
Yes, and very large, it's a huge expanse. There was a report of 2015 by Dr. Antonio Mascarenhas, who had done a 98, he had written a paper on the sand dunes of Goa. He had done a thorough study at that time. His report of 2014 finally says that it is one of the largest sand dunes. It rises to a height of about 7 to 8 meters from the beach. All this is there in the report. But this sand dune is not shown in the NCSM report, a draft of the final CZMP. So these are examples for us. Now I need to tell you a very important thing here. Why I say the NCSM is caught. The NCSM showed one particular property in Sernapati that it is not a sand dune, okay, in the CZMP. But that party who had approached the NGT, finally the NGT directed that they do a site inspection, and one of the members of that site joint inspection was a NCSM scientist.
Okay. Now
he goes and he inspects the site and he says this is a sand dune. Now you just tell me who's contradicting whom, who's telling the truth. I know it's a sand dune, I can see it before my eyes.
Yeah.
Any common man can say that this is rising from the beach to such a height, it is a sand dune. How did the NCSM not show it as a sand dune, and how did its own expert scientists say that it is a sand dune?
You have taken up issues of the constructing walls along the on the coast, and one is of that Baywatch.
Baywatch. Right. Now Baywatch in 2021, after a long battle, the GCZM passed an order for demolition of several of the structures and said under the supervision of the Biodiversity Board that they have to do the restoration work of the dune, because that is also on a sand dune. Now the Biodiversity Board was supposed to supervise it. They went, inspected after the demolition of the structure, inspected, and they gave their report. The GCZM went to sleep. So GCZM does not act immediately. That is the problem. There is no prompt, efficient way. I don't think they even have a proper, I keep telling them, you should have a chart, which you prepare on your computer, and then you know exactly what is to be done, what has to be done, the date, time. I do it for myself because I'm dealing with so many matters. This is an organized way of working. You have so many staff in your department. I mostly see some of them twiddling their thumbs over there. You put them all to work over there, get them organized. You have use information technology. You have, this is a very important thing, satellite imagery. The Honorable Supreme Court in two cases said how dependent we should be on satellite imagery, because it shows us when the violation came up.
Okay, yeah.
This is clear evidence. There is evidence. Yeah. Now, one of the orders is as recent as 2022, where they say clearly the authorities should be using this technology. But is the GCZM using it? Why is it not being done? Because there is a compromise formula taking place. Let them challenge me on this. When you have technology available with you, why are you not? You can use GPS systems. There are so many technologies which I am also not aware, but I'm finding out. I recently got...
that if they construct the wall in that
Now in the case of Baywatch.
High tide it is,
Yeah. See what happened when Baywatch brought up its wall, no? The adjoining areas were completely eroded. The sand dunes were eroded. This is what the NGT in one of its judgment in 2022 passed said that all along the coast, no hard walls, no stone walls that they are building, concrete walls should not be permitted because it causes damage to the adjoining areas. Now, despite this judgment being there on record, the GCZM is sleeping over a case like Baywatch. The complaint was filed in 2021 to them that there is this wall coming up. Till today, we are now in 2024. I'm still waiting for the GCZMA to take action. Their hearing dates just keep getting postponed. That is a very another modus operandi of the GCZMA. Not to pass orders, delay, re-hear the matter, keep it for orders, re-hear the matter. This is how there is complete ignorance of the serious violations taking place. Now in the case of Baywatch only, they have built the wall. The Biodiversity Board has gone and done an inspection. They have given them a report. But till today, GCZM has not acted on it. We are just constantly, like fools, writing to them, reminding them, no action. Last time, I can give you photographs to show you what damage was caused to the adjoining areas. The sea came, naturally it was coming and hitting against this concrete wall. Finally, that wall collapsed. See, these walls are not going to stand. You cannot stand the might of the ocean, of the sea. When there are heavy rains and all that, it is a very bad situation. The entire area was along that side was eroded. Why? Because of these walls. And now, if you go all along the Sednabati and Kolva, you'll find all of these mostly illegal hotels. 99% are illegal. They are illegally standing there. They have built walls and they are constructing. Demolition orders passed in 2008 till today are not executed.
Judith, तुवें सगळें सांगलां त्या पयल्यार अशें दिसता की आमचो कोस्टच आहा तो सामको ऑन द वर्नरेबल सिच्युएशनाक आसा आनी अशें जर हें चालूच उरलें जाल्यार कितें जावपाक शकता? What could be the consequences?
The consequences are going to be very serious. See, take the climate, due to climate change, there's an increase in the sea level rise. Recently they said the Arctic is melting like anything. So there's going to be a rise in sea level. When there is a sea level rise, which are the areas that are going to be affected are the lower areas first. And Goa is definitely in the forefront of one of these areas. Already there are reports made saying that we are going to have Vasco and some areas will be completely submerged. They may say it will be submerged in 2030, but I am saying by 2025, 26 itself you may find submerging taking place. Why? Because as a common person, I see this serious changes. In Kolva itself, last year, the water came in almost 100 meters and entered in people's houses. The local MLA had to bring a JCB to make way for the water. But where will that water go when the sea level has risen? There is common sense in everything. We have to use logic everywhere. We are not supposed to just think. And people ignore scientists, but scientists know what they are talking. Because they have done studies and they are serious about what it is. But nobody is interested in what the scientists have to say. As long as commercial interests are met. All the illegal structures along the coastal areas in the no development zone have to be removed if you have to protect our beaches. 100%. It's just the case where you put stones into a pot and the water level rises. The same way you're putting concrete in the no development zone, and so the water which would have remained otherwise down is going to come further in. And people may say anything, you cannot complain. This destruction is going to take place. The tourism policy, very important, where our beaches was meant to be protected, came out only to help the unemployed youth. That means those shacks, whatever permissions were to give in to the unemployed youth. Can anybody challenge me and say that today it's only the unemployed youth who are running these shacks? And why the number of shacks have increased so much is because all the private hotels, 4-star, 5-star, all of them have applying for permission. Hotels which are along the beach front applying for permissions for plus shacks. and they are being given those permissions. Can the GCZM answer why they are giving them permissions? Well, are they unemployed people? Anybody with a business should never be given another permission. It is meant for unemployed youth. Automatically you would have had lesser pressure on the beach fronts.
So, हे आशिल्ले जुदिथ अल्मेदा जाणी म्हाका दिसता फाटली एक 30-35 वर्सां फकत आमचो गोंयचो कोस्ट आमची गोंयची वेळ सांबाळून कशी उरची हाजे खातीरूच आपले म्हाका दिसता सगळो टायमूच ताका दिला अशें दिसता म्हाका. आनीक ताणें जुदिथ बाईन सांगलां त्या प्रमाणे जर पळयलें जाल्यार आमचो फुडार आमकां दिसता तितलो सुगूर ना, आमकां दिसता तितलो सामको सेफ ना. सो हे जर आमगेले जर फुडार सेफ उरपाक जाय जाल्यार आतांच आमी पावलां मारपाक जाय. आनीक हे जे गरजे शिवाय आमचे टुरिजमाच्या नांवाचेर जे दर्याच्या वेळाचेर जो प्रेशर पडटा तो कमी जावपाक जाय. मेन म्हणजे ते सँड ड्यून्स उरपाक जाय. सँड ड्यून्स म्हणजे आर द वॉल्स, नाजाल्यार सगळे दर्याचें उदक गांवांक येवपाक शकतलें. ही भिरांत सगळ्याकच पडिल्ली आसा. आनीक हे सगळे खबर आसूनय बी ऑथॉरिटीज हाजे कडेन दोळे धांपून पळयतात आनी ही सगळ्याक वायट गजाल. जुदिथ बाई तूं हांगा आयले, तुवें इन्फॉर्मेशन दिलें सगळें. आनीक आमी एक आशा दवरया की आफ्टर दीस टॉक दीस ऑथॉरिटी मातशे जर ते जाग्यार येतल्यो, मातशे एनलायट जातल्यो आनीक हे कितें आसा ते जाग्यार हाडपाक पळयतले, नाजाल्यार आमचें गोंय आमचे कडेन उरचें ना इतलेंच आमी म्हणटात. आनीक ह्याच हाजेर आमची ही चर्चा थांबयतात. सगळ्याक देव बरें करूं. पळयत रावात गोमंतक TV.